Not another step.
No, Commander. Let him finish what he started.
The cold, metallic click of the revolver echoed through the narrow corridor of the battleship Aegis Dawn. The young lieutenant's hand trembled, sweat tracing down his temple. Before him stood a woman in a crisp but unadorned navy coat, her eyes calm, her posture unwavering. He didn't know her name. All he knew was that she had walked into a restricted command deck without clearance. And now, with the crew watching in silence, he aimed the weapon at her forehead, unaware that the woman he was threatening commanded every ship in the fleet. "Not another step," he barked, his voice cracking under the pressure. She didn't move. She only looked at him, with an authority so quiet it silenced even the hum of the engines. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. The air was thick with tension, the kind that made time itself hold its breath. Around them, sailors froze mid-motion, unsure whether to intervene or flee. The lieutenant's knuckles turned white around the grip of his revolver. He'd been stationed here for months, waiting for a promotion, desperate to prove his worth. But right now, all he felt was confusion, because something in her eyes didn't belong to an intruder. It belonged to someone who'd seen war from the front lines, who'd led men through storms and silence alike. "Do you even know who you're pointing that at?" Came a low voice from behind him. It was Commander Rivas, stepping into the corridor, her expression unreadable. But before she could say more, the woman raised a hand, stopping her. "No, Commander," she said softly. "Let him finish what he started." Her voice carried weight, not of threat, but of memory. It sounded like the sea on a calm night with storms sleeping beneath. The lieutenant hesitated, his breath shaking. "I said, identify yourself." "I already have now," she said, and reached slowly into her coat pocket. The movement was deliberate, measured, yet even that made half the soldiers raise their rifles. When her hand emerged, it wasn't holding a weapon. It held a single golden insignia, the crest of the Fleet Admiral. For a moment, no one spoke. The realization rippled through the corridor like a thunderclap. The lieutenant's gun wavered. His eyes widened. "Admiral?" he whispered, his voice breaking apart as the revolver lowered inch by inch. Her gaze softened, but her words cut through him like a blade of truth. "Fear makes good men do foolish things, Lieutenant. But courage means owning the moment after." He dropped the weapon, the metallic clatter echoing louder than his heartbeat. Every soldier straightened to attention. Some saluted. Others simply stared in disbelief at the woman who had just revealed herself to be the very highest authority in the fleet. Someone who could have ended his career with a single word, but didn't. She walked past him slowly, stopping only when their shoulders nearly brushed. "If you point a gun at someone again," she said gently, "make sure it's not out of pride, but out of purpose." The ship's command bridge opened before her, sunlight spilling through the wide glass. Officers scrambled to salute as she entered, her boots steady on the steel floor. Yet despite the formalities, she didn't demand apology or punishment. Instead, she asked for the lieutenant to join her briefing, and when the mission began, a search and rescue of a downed crew near hostile waters, she gave him the coordinates first. "You'll lead the vanguard," she said. "You wanted to prove your courage. Now you'll know what it really means." What followed was chaos and courage intertwined. Waves rose like mountains, engines roared against the storm, and through it all, the lieutenant fought with a conviction he didn't know he had. When the survivors were finally pulled aboard, his uniform was soaked, but his heart was light. He looked across the deck and saw her watching him, not with pride, but with understanding. Later that night, as silence returned to the ship, the lieutenant approached her. "Ma'am, why didn't you have me arrested?" She smiled faintly. "Because leaders aren't made by fear, Lieutenant. They're shaped by mercy." He would never forget that line. Nor the calm, unflinching woman who taught it with a revolver to her forehead. Because mercy isn't weakness. It's the quiet strength that turns enemies into allies, and mistakes into lessons that last a lifetime. And somewhere beyond the horizon, the sea carried her reflection. Steady, commanding, and endlessly patient, like the truth she left behind. If this story moved you, make sure to subscribe and share your thoughts below. Because every story like this reminds us, true power isn't loud. It listens, forgives, and leads with courage.